I orchestrated my ex-girlfriend's career-ending scandal. A fire broke out of the studio, wiping the servers clean. And me, the company's music director, I was miles away, fishing off the Florida coast, the picture of calm. My girlfriend and the company's owner, Isabel Vance, was losing her mind, blowing up my phone, begging me to come back. In my past life, I went back. I meticulously recreated the new album from scratch, only to be accused of plagiarism. The label's rising star, Leo Vance, cried to a crowd of reporters, claiming I had stolen his work. Isabel stood right there, feeding the narrative, telling the camera she had warned me, but I just wouldn't listen. She fired me in front of the entire country. Overnight, I went from a respected musical prodigy to a pariah, a thief everyone loved to hate. I died a broken man. Meanwhile, Isabel and Leo became the music industry's golden couple, a match made in heaven. They took my songs, dominated the charts, and collected armfuls of awards. Now reborn, I decided to just stay home. Let's see how far those two snakes get without me. 1. Without a moment's hesitation, I submitted my resignation. You're quitting. Ethan, are you insane? This was your dream, to be the top songwriter in the industry. You're on the verge of making it happen, and you're just going to walk away? Isabel's voice was sharp, grating. Her perfectly sculpted face was a mask of disbelief. We had a deal, remember? You write the music, I handle the business, and we build this empire together. Her words were almost funny. In my last life, I was already a well-known songwriter in the L. Seen when we started working together. Things evolved, and we fell for each other. Because she was a celebrity, she didn't want to go public. We started a secret relationship that lasted 7 years. When she broke her contract with her old label to start her own, Siren Records, I didn't think twice. I was the first one to sign on, and our new venture made serious waves. Everyone was watching, wondering if we'd fly or flop. A lot of people were waiting for Isabel to fail, to give her company the launch it deserved. I spent 3 months crafting a new album for her. I also wrote and produced 3 hit singles for the label's new talent, Leo Vance. Just like that, Siren Records was on the map. Isabel skyrocketed from a B-lister to a chart-topping headliner. Leo became an overnight sensation, bringing in a massive stream of cash for the company. To keep the momentum going, I locked myself away and created over a dozen new tracks. I posted short demos online to start building hype. The response was a tidal wave of hate. It turned out Leo had posted his own demos 30 minutes before I did. He announced that he had personally written a dozen new songs, including a brand new album for Isabel, getting his fans hyped. Because he posted first, and because we both claimed to be the sole authors, I was branded a plagiarist who stole music from his own artist. My Twitter mentions exploded with people demanding justice. Some genius producer. More like a master thief. So shameless. Stealing from an artist on your own label. How did Isabel Vance ever sign this guy? I was speechless, defenseless. My only hope was that Isabel would step up and clear my name. But she didn't. Instead, she stood at a press conference, her eyes red-rimmed with fake tears, and delivered the final blow. It's true that Ethan plagiarized Leo's work, she said, her voice trembling with disappointment. I tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't listen. As the owner of this company, I have to do what's right. In that moment, my world froze. Leo stood beside her, the very picture of heartbroken betrayal. Ethan, I always looked up to you. I can't believe you'd do something like this. The flash of cameras was blinding. My career was over. It wasn't just my career either. My life fell apart. Vicious fans who didn't know the truth found my parents' address and vandalized their home, the stress of which sent both of them to the hospital. My friends distanced themselves, wanting nothing to do with me. The pressure was too much. I spiraled into depression and died. 2. Ethan, are you even listening to me? Isabel's voice snapped me back to the present. We worked so hard for this. Isn't this the moment we've been fighting for? She pleaded. We promised we'd stand on the Grammy stage together, holding hands in front of everyone. Are you throwing that away too? The company is at a critical point right now. You can't. Listening to her, I had to laugh. How could she say these things without an ounce of shame? Was this the same woman who threw me to the wolves? Who let me take the fall for a crime I didn't commit, just so she could steal my life's work? The woman who never even bothered to say we're over before she turned around and went public with Leo, launching a new album with him. They milked the publicity becoming Hollywood's power couple. They built their kingdom on my music, on my ruin. Not this time. I wasn't going to let them win again. I refused all her pleas and walked out. The reason I gave was simple. My parents were getting older, and the family fishing charter business back home was too much for them to handle. I had to go back and help. Before I left, I wiped my work computer, deleted the cloud backups, and fed a mountain of old sheet music into the shredder. Ethan, what are you doing? Isabel stared at the shredder, horrified. I gave her a slight smile. Just cleaning out my office. It's all just junk, no use keeping it around. Thought I'd leave the place tidy for the next person. You're really leaving. Her voice softened, dripping with the fake sentimentality she was so good at. What about us? I watched her eyes well up and felt nothing but disgust. This was the same damsel in distress act she used for 7 years to keep me writing for her, to keep me devoted. Isabel, I said, softening my own tone and forcing a hesitant look. Honestly, I haven't been in a good place lately. Is it the deadline pressure? She asked, grabbing my hand. You don't have to rush. I can wait. I gently pulled my hand away and shook my head. It's more than that. I think. I can't write anymore. Isabel's expression froze. What do you mean? She asked, her voice suddenly sharp. Exactly what it sounds like, I said with a bitter laugh, holding up my hands. The well's run dry. Writer's block. I'm burned out. I just need to go home and clear my head. Her eyes darted back and forth as she calculated her options. After what happened last time, I knew exactly how her mind worked. If I was still useful to her, she'd do anything to keep me. But if I was broken, she'd drop me without a second thought. Well, she forced a smile. When are you leaving? Now. I hoisted the duffel bag I'd already packed. Flight's already booked. The warmth vanished from her face. So suddenly? Just then, Leo Vance appeared in the doorway, a nervous look on his face. I glanced at him, then smirked as I walked toward the door. As I passed him, I turned back to Isabel. Yeah, my folks are really pushing for it. I glanced at my phone. Besides, you've got Leo, right? He's always saying how talented he is. Let him take a crack at writing the new album. I remembered how she'd praised him when she first brought him to the label, saying he just needed a little guidance and a real shot. I clapped Leo on the shoulder. It's all on you now, kid. The future of Siren Records. 3. On the way to the airport, I posted a tweet. Feeling burned out and creatively drained. As of today, I'm stepping down from my position at Siren Records. The music department will be in the capable hands of Leo Vance. For future updates, please follow the official label account. Thanks for all the love and support over the years. See you on the other side. Back home, I immediately grabbed my fishing gear and took the boat out on the water. The sea breeze felt incredible. I sat on the deck, my fishing rod bobbing gently in the waves. Last time, at this very moment, I was frantically trying to salvage the album, pulling all-nighters fueled by caffeine and stress. And now, I started an Instagram live and waved to the viewers. This is the life, huh? I said, taking a long sip of an ice-cold beer and admiring the endless blue horizon. Just then, my line went taut. Got one, I yelled, jumping to my feet and reeling it in. The rod bent into a deep arc, and the comments on my live stream went wild. After a 10-minute fight, I hauled a 40-pound tuna onto the deck. Looks like we're eating good tonight. I grinned to the camera. While I was living my best life, things at Siren Records were imploding. The album promo was already out, but they didn't have a single finished song. I heard the music team was scrambling to buy tracks from outside writers. I figured even if the fire happened this time around, it wouldn't matter. I had already deleted everything. I was leisurely cleaning the tuna when my phone started vibrating nonstop. The screen read Isabel Vance. I sneered and declined the call. My livestream comments blew up. OMG, he just ignored Isabel Vance. Ethan Reed is officially in his DGAF era. I heard he left Siren Records. Guess it wasn't a friendly split. I shrugged at the camera. Sorry, guys. Can't really take calls when I'm live. Anyway, let me show you the right way to fillet a tuna. Before I could finish, my phone rang again. I glanced at the camera, letting it ring for a good 15 seconds before finally answering and putting it on speaker. Ethan, are you out of your mind? Why did you hang up on me? Isabel's shriek filled the air. The studio archives caught fire. All the unreleased demos are gone. Where are you? I need you back here to redo everything now. The comments flew by. Whoa, a fire. Is Siren Records done for? Go back and save them, Ethan. I calmly wiped my hands. Isabel, I don't work for you anymore. This isn't a joke. She screamed. The album release date is set. The press releases are out. You can't just have Leo write it. I cut in, my voice light and cheerful. He's always wanted a shot at songwriting, right? This is his big chance. Silence on the other end. A smile crept across my face. In my past life, this was the moment Leo was getting ready to copy all my work and launch his genius songwriter persona. Ethan, Isabel's tone shifted, becoming softer. Stop being dramatic. I know you have backups on your personal computer. Nope, I said, winking at my phone's camera. I never actually finished any of those demos before I left. I could hear her sharp intake of breath, and I could almost picture the rage twisting her perfect features. Ethan, do you have any idea what you're saying? She hissed, her voice tight with fury. The label has poured a fortune into a promo campaign, and you're telling me you never even finished a single song? I casually rotated the tuna steak on the small grill I had on board, the fat sizzling as it hit the hot grate. Isabel, I remember telling you very clearly that I was hitting a creative wall when I left. You told me it was okay to take my time. Yep. She was sputtering, speechless. I could hear her struggling to control her breathing. Ethan, let's talk about this in person, she said, her voice suddenly smooth and persuasive. If there's some misunderstanding, we can clear it up. I glanced at my viewer count, which had just passed 500,000. I'm a little busy right now, Isabel. I'm live, I said, pausing for effect. And besides, there's nothing left for us to talk about. With that, I hung up and switched my phone to airplane mode. That statement was as much of a breakup as she was ever going to get. The live stream chat was a chaotic waterfall of text. The audacity. I stand. Siren Records is about to be siren wrecked, LOL. I heard their whole album rollout is already paid for. I gave my audience a huge smile. All right, everyone. That's it for today's stream. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. We're going looking for something bigger. After ending the broadcast, I let out a long breath and looked up at the stars. Last time, I would have been in the studio, killing myself to finish her album. Now, I was lying on the deck of my boat, with nothing but the sea breeze and the open sky. 4. Knowing Isabel, she was probably pacing her office like a caged animal. The album campaign was in full swing, deposits paid for a nationwide tour, and she didn't even have a lead single. My DMs and mentions were a war zone. There were messages of support from fans, questions from curious onlookers, and of course, a deluge of hate from Isabel's diehard followers. I clicked on one message from a fan of hers. Get out of the industry. You're pathetic, sabotaging the company just because you can't write anymore. I chuckled and typed back. You're right, I can't write anymore. That's why I quit. As for sabotage, the minute I left, I went fishing. How is that sabotage? I sent the reply and then disabled my DMs. For the next few days, I streamed on schedule, taking my viewers fishing, scuba diving, and showing them how to cook gourmet seafood feasts on the boat. Meanwhile, things at Siren Records went from bad to worse. First, Leo Vance rushed out an original song to stop the bleeding, but internet sleuths quickly discovered its melody was lifted from an obscure indie artist in Europe. Then, in a desperate attempt to go viral, he released a track called Gucci on my Goldfish. The song was objectively terrible, but it became a massive meme. Hating it was the new trend. Realizing that bad publicity was still publicity, Leo leaned in. He quickly recorded another song called Diamond Drip Dance, complete with a music video filmed in a practice studio. In it, he wore baggy overalls, styled his hair like a 90s boy band member, and performed a cringy dance that awkwardly combined basketball dribbling with what looked like kung fu moves. You had to hand it to him, the guy was a special kind of talentless. While Diamond Drip Dance was a flop on music platforms, the video exploded on YouTube and TikTok. The remixes, edits, and reaction videos were endless. You couldn't be online without seeing Leo Vance's face. Even if you didn't know his name, you'd seen the memes. I lounged on my deck, scrolling through my phone and watching the disaster unfold. The comments were a beautiful train wreck. This isn't music. This is a cry for help. I can't stop watching. It's so bad it's hypnotic. So this is what Siren Records sounds like without Ethan Reed. Yikes. I couldn't help but laugh. In my past life, Leo built his musical genius persona by stealing my work. Without me, this was all he had. Now, a certified viral sensation, Leo started doing the talk show circuit and giving interviews to major media outlets. He'd drone on and on about his artistic process and promote his upcoming single, Hidden Butterfly. The internet began calling his music audio pollution. If there was an award for the worst music of the year, he'd sweep every category. People gave him nicknames online: Goldfish Gucci, Drip God, Leo, the Cringe. The sheer virality of it all attracted a new kind of attention. Venture capitalists looking to make a quick buck on meme culture. Under pressure, Isabel took their money. She had a payroll to meet, after all. 5. I was tanning on the deck of my yacht, taking a day off from streaming, when my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Hello. I answered lazily. Ethan. It was Isabel's voice, coded in that sickeningly sweet tone I knew so well. I miss you. I almost laughed out loud. So, she was going back to this strategy. What's up? I said, deliberately holding the phone out so the sound of the wind and waves would carry through. Can you please come back and help me? Her voice cracked. The label really needs you right now. I see you're just fishing every day. You don't seem that busy. Please just come back and help me. I stretched languidly. Isabel, I told you, the wells run dry. I'd be useless to you. That's not true. Even if you can't write a whole album, you could mentor Leo, help him with his process, she said, a clear note of desperation in her voice. Mentor him? Isabel, the guy's songs are viral hits. Did you see his latest interview? The confidence on that kid is off the charts. I don't think he needs my help. Her voice went stiff. But I knew she was getting desperate now. The new investors had made her sign a performance-based contract. If the label didn't meet its revenue targets, she'd owe them a fortune in penalties. Leo's meme-fueled fame was fleeting, good only for milking his most delusional fans for cash. If this was their long-term strategy, the Siren Records brand would be worthless within a year. Leo just needs time to grow, I continued, twisting the knife. Look how much progress he's made already. Give him another year, and who knows what kind of genius he'll become. And if his output is a little slow, you've got investor cash now. Just buy some songs from other writers. Problem solved. What a joke. High-quality, high-output songwriters are unicorns in this industry. Forget high quality. It's hard enough to find decent pop filler. It took me years of raw talent and relentless work to get where I was. And Leo, that kid wouldn't have had a single hit without my music. Now he was trying to build a brand as a prolific genius by stealing my work. I have no idea how he thought he could maintain that illusion. He'd made his bed, and now he was trying to drag me back into it to save him. You know, we need top-tier, exceptional material. She started. I chuckled. Isabel, we've both been in this business long enough to know you can't just conjure a masterpiece out of thin air. She was silent. I knew what she was really after. The finished songs I'd had before I left. She knew me, knew my work ethic. She was betting I had a hard drive full of nearly completed tracks for the album we were supposed to launch. In the past, anything she needed, I would have moved heaven and earth to deliver. She just couldn't believe I had truly come up empty. Leo was probably banking on the same thing, assuming Isabel could sweet-talk me into handing everything over. That's why he was so cocky, making promises he couldn't keep. I'm sure she'd already hired IT guys to try and recover the data from my old work computer. But it wouldn't do them any good. Without my handwritten notes and scribbled chord progressions, the fragmented audio files were meaningless. Now, I was sticking to my story, and the digital trail was cold. The promises they made were coming due, and they had nothing to show for it. Their only option was to get me back, even if it was just for a few pointers to buy themselves some time until they could find new material. The whole thing was so transparent. I stared at my dark phone screen, a cold smile on my face. Isabel's plan was so predictable. In our last life, she drained me of my talent while secretly sleeping with Leo before they both pushed me off a cliff. There was no way I was falling for that again. I opened Twitter and saw Leo had just posted a new update. Thanks for all the support. The new album is in the works, and I'm experimenting with a completely new sound. Get ready for a surprise. Hashtag Leo Vance new album. Hashtag musical genius. The comments were a cesspool of praise from his fans. Frowny face Leo. You're amazing. Can't wait for the new style. A true artist is always evolving. I laughed out loud. The guy was so desperate, he was already hyping an album that didn't exist. This idiot barely knew how to read sheet music. I couldn't wait to watch him crash and burn. I immediately retweeted his post with a comment. Can't wait to see what our musical prodigy comes up with next. Minutes later, my phone rang. It was Isabel. Ethan, what the hell was that? Are you trying to make things worse? I feigned innocence. What? I'm just supporting one of your artists. I helped discover him, didn't I? Can't I cheer him on? If you want to help, then help by writing some damn songs. I could tell she was furious with Leo's impulsiveness. He was fanning the flames, putting her in an impossible position, and she was taking it out on me. Leo must have gotten an earful too, because he called me right after, whining. Bro, my career is on the line here, and you're making jokes, he lamented. Since you left, I've been carrying this whole company on my back. You know my skills, man. This is all just hype. Ethan, please come back and help Isabel, he begged. It's not easy for her, a woman running a big label like this all by herself. His words were so disgusting, I felt sick. The nerve of this guy to play the victim. I mumbled a few non-committal responses and hung up. These two were such fools. They could have easily used the studio fire as an excuse. Just say the new album was destroyed, buy themselves a year or two to hire new writers, and quietly piece something together. But no, their egos wouldn't let them. Isabel didn't give up. With Leo having painted them both into a corner, she took a more direct approach. She chartered a yacht and found me out on the water. Ethan, she called out, standing on the deck, the wind whipping through her long hair. We need to talk. I slowly reeled in my fishing line, putting on a look of pleasant surprise. Isabel, what are you doing here? She rushed over and threw her arms around me, putting on a big show of how much she'd missed me. Ethan, I missed you so much. Why didn't you come back to see me? She pouted, her voice dripping with manufactured vulnerability. She was playing the part of a lovesick girl perfectly. She didn't mention the music or the label once, just focused on us, acting like we were back in the early days of our relationship. For a moment, I almost felt a strange sense of happiness, a flicker of doubt that maybe the past life was just a terrible nightmare. I quickly shook the thought away. Each night, I'd take a little blue pill to make sure I could perform. After 3 days, both of us could barely walk straight. As she lay exhausted in my arms, she finally started talking about the trouble at the company. I stroked her hair gently. Don't worry, I whispered. I've had some inspiration these last few days. Honey, really? Her eyes lit up. Oh, you're the best. Mwah. After we get through this crisis, she purred, we'll go public. We'll get married. The word married almost made me gag. I could still see the pictures from my past life. Her and Leo, all over social media, at red carpet events, their posts getting more lovey-dovey by the day. She didn't believe that line any more than I did. Of course, babe. I love you so much. Gag. I put on a show, slowly writing out the songs from my memory on a manuscript paper, making it look like I was painstakingly creating them from scratch. In a week, I had written 10 songs. No surprise, the day after Isabel left, Leo released the first single. It was an instant massive hit. The media went into a frenzy, hailing the arrival of a genius singer-songwriter, Leo Vance, a stunning transformation from pop idol to true artist. Debut single Ocean Love surpasses 5 million downloads. Vance proves his mettle. Isabel Vance. Leo is the most talented musician I've ever met. I read the headlines with a cold smile. I had set up hidden cameras on the boat. I had footage of Isabel sneaking into my workspace at night, taking pictures of my lyrics, and sending them to Leo. That first song was released with Leo's name on it, credited as the sole writer and composer. My last shred of doubt was gone. The past life was real. With 10 hit songs in their pocket, they had enough material to save the company. They could ride this wave, hire new writers, and keep the machine running. My usefulness had expired. You might wonder why Isabel would choose a talentless pretty boy over a proven musical genius. It's simple, really. I'm 40. She's 37. Leo is 22. It must be love. Back in L. Isabel was a different person. I watched Leo's new single, Ocean Love, conquer every music chart, holding the #1 spot for a week and becoming a cultural phenomenon. I got into a shouting match with Isabel over the phone. She told me not to be so petty. I was out of the industry anyway, so what did I need the credit for? Leo was in the prime of his career. He needed these songs to build his brand far more than I did. She even offered to give me a bigger payout. Finally, we had our official breakup. Everything was going according to plan. A cold smirk spread across my face. They wanted to build their careers on my work, to bask in a spotlight they didn't earn. Not on my watch. I had let them climb high enough. It was time for the fall. I opened Twitter. Leo had just posted again. Thank you all for the love. Ocean love is just the beginning. I've got so much more amazing music coming your way. Hashtag Songwriter Life. Hashtag Leo Vance. His fans ate it up. You're so talented, Leo. A true artist. Can't wait for the album. I calmly screenshotted everything, then made a phone call. Is everything ready? I asked. A calm, professional voice answered. Mr. Reed, we have all the evidence compiled, including timestamp photos of your original handwritten manuscripts. Excellent, I said. Proceed as planned. I had already recorded my own versions of all those songs over a month ago. I sent a package of materials, audio files, manuscripts, and sworn affidavits to my lawyer and to a notary public, creating an unbreakable chain of evidence. Then I sat back and waited. Predictably, Leo and Isabel made their relationship official. They posted a romantic photo on Instagram with the caption, "Here's to the rest of our lives." The post blew up the internet. The comments were a flood of congratulations. Power couple. You two are perfect together. So happy for you both. That was my cue. A Twitter account named @Music Industry Insider dropped a bombshell, a long, detailed thread titled, "Shocker. Leo Vance's hit Ocean Love is a proven case of plagiarism." The article laid out, with meticulous detail, that the song was my intellectual property and had never been legally sold or licensed to Siren Records. The copyright was still, and had always been, in my name. The post went viral instantly. WHOA, the tea is scalding. So Leo Vance is a fraud? My heart breaks for Ethan Reed, betrayed by his own girlfriend and label. Within an hour, hashtag Leo Vance's over party and hashtag Isabel the Betrayer were the top trending topics worldwide. Leo and Isabel's PR team panicked, releasing a statement calling the accusations malicious rumors and threatening legal action. They hired an army of bots to flood the hashtags and change the narrative. But then the other shoe dropped. A gossip blog published an even bigger story. Exclusive, Isabel Vance's 7-year secret relationship with Ethan Reed exposed, and how she cheated with protege Leo Vance for the last year. Isabel called me, frantic, begging me to release a statement saying it was all a lie, to help her with damage control. I played the part of the devastated, heartbroken ex. I refused, then forwarded her a candid photo a fan had sent me months ago. Her and Leo kissing in a secluded hotel hallway on a night she had told me she was working late at the studio. Online, I became the ultimate victim, a jilted lover and betrayed artist. I posted vaguely about heartbreak and disappointment, and my social media was flooded with sympathy and support. Of course, there were trolls too, posting memes of me with the caption, "Cuck of the Year." Leo, unable to handle the online hate, cracked first. He and Isabel started turning on each other. He posted a long confession. This was all the label's idea. I was forced into this persona. Isabel initiated everything. She came on to me, and I didn't know she was still with Ethan. I'm a victim in this too. To prove his innocence, he leaked screenshots of his text conversations with Isabel. They included the photo she had sent him on my manuscript that night on the yacht, with the message, "Get this recorded ASAP." There were also texts of her initiating their meetups. He threw her completely under the bus. I screenshotted his posts and sent them to Isabel. Look at your brave little boyfriend. Not an ounce of integrity. Isabel, realizing she was being sacrificed, fought back with everything she had. Leo Vance is a manipulative liar, she posted. He was constantly trying to trade favors for opportunities. I told him I had a boyfriend and that if he didn't stop, he would be fired. In a final desperate act, he drugged me and assaulted me, then used the photos to blackmail me. He has ruined my life. I am the real victim. She even produced security footage from a hotel showing Leo carrying her, seemingly unconscious, into a room. The internet war was spectacular. Their fans, now divided, went after each other. Isabel's supporters called Leo a predator. Leo's fans used his text screenshots to argue that Isabel was a liar who was faking it. They completely imploded. My lawyer had a field day collecting all the evidence they were leaking against each other. A month later, the court verdict came down. Leo Vance and Isabel Vance were found guilty of copyright infringement, commercial fraud, and a slew of other charges. They were ordered to pay me a massive settlement. Siren Records declared bankruptcy. Because of the investment contract she signed, Isabel was now buried under an insurmountable mountain of debt. Leo's own contract violations left him similarly ruined. The power couple who planned to get rich and famous off my talent were both headed to prison. I visited Isabel before she was transferred. I knew, I told her with a smile. I knew you were cheating. I knew your plan. That's why I quit. But you just couldn't let it go. You had to have my songs. You followed me out onto the ocean and sailed right into my trap. This is on you. I thought you two were so in love. I added. But you tore each other to shreds online and handed me everything I needed to put you both away. Leo, who was in the same visiting room, overheard me. He exploded, screaming at Isabel, calling her every name in the book, insisting it was all her fault for being so stupid. She fired right back, calling him a useless, arrogant brat who couldn't write a single decent note, blaming him for forcing her hand. I stood back and clapped slowly, a round of applause for their farewell performance. You two try and behave in there, I said cheerfully. Especially you, Leo. Maybe some quiet time in a cell is just what you need to finally write a good song. I turned and walked away. Later that day, I posted one last tweet, a huge thank you to a certain someone and another certain someone for the massive settlement. Just got a little bit richer. Wishing all my followers health, happiness, and good fortune. The comments were instantly flooded with people replying, claiming this energy. I added one more comment. Don't forget to like, retweet, and subscribe.